Medellin, an enigmatic city surrounded by an eternal colorful mountain chain, has always had a story to tell us. That's why the topic of today is about some curious historical situations which happened in the old Medellin. Oh yes, it's an interesting topic. For example, do you know la avenida La Playa? It is a big avenue which is located in downtown Medellin. It is a traditional, commercial, industrialized place where you can find lots of touristic sites of this city. Its name can be translated like the beach. This name is due to its history. There was a little river under that avenue. That little river had amazing puddles, and it was supposed to be a place where people could have a little fun with their families. The curious thing is that the sand of this river was really thin, and it was like the sand from a real beach, even if Medellin is not a seaside city. That's why the people who lived there decided to call this place La Playa, that translates the beach in English.
Oh yes, as you say, I know another story about Medellin. It is about the Park Bolívar, a big park located downtown. Some years ago, it was very traditional. You could find trees, grass, springs, and old men talking about everything. There were people selling lottery and walking on the roads. The park was decorated with flowers and beautiful trees. Nevertheless, back then, there were some animals like horses and cows that could harm or destroy this, so they decided to build fences to protect that place. However, now these fences do not surround this park. They were removed to make mobility easier in the park. Felipe, nowadays, it is a shame that people don't find fences for vandalism. Fortunately, the first Saturday of every month you can find San Alejo in the park, a commercial alternative for small artisans. That way people can try to revive the magic of this place.
Actually, I have heard a lot about that. Once, my grandfather told me a story about mobility in Medellin. In the past, there were no cars, only horses and donkeys, which were the only alternative for people to go from one place to another. My grandfather's family was really old, and several members of the family were sick. He had to walk long distances to arrive to the places where these people lived. By the way, he was in charge of communicating every single event about his relatives' health, and he had to go every day to his relatives' house to see them. However, one day he decided not to go. Instead of that, he stayed playing with his friends. Unfortunately, that day, one of his relatives died. Then, when his father asked for his uncle, my grandfather said he was pretty good. At night, one of my grandfather's cousins came to inform about her father's death.
Oh, what a shame! I knew an old guy, Alfonso, and I remember so much a story he told me. Do you know the Puente San Jorge?
No.
Yes, the one next to Industrialized station. We pass it every December to see the Christmas lights. Okay.
Oh yes, I know it.
He used to fish from that bridge. He said that there were so many fish that when he threw stones into the river, he killed one or two, and he picked them up later. It was a place to meet the family, make bonfires, and cook something. They bathed in the river and stayed under the big trees for hours. There was plenty of grass and many cypress trees. Recently, the Rio Medellin River is full of garbage and nobody but the vagabonds go there.
That's awesome. In fact, I think that we don't even know the history of our university. Do you know that few years ago there was a big river under Barranquilla Avenue? Actually, it was not too big. People went there to have fun, fish, and sometimes to get some water from the river. The water was clean, and there were a lot of houses surrounding the river. Nevertheless, some inhabitants of the neighborhood began to pollute the river with garbage, and they changed the course of the river to make it easier to collect water. Because of that, the river began to die, and finally, with the construction of that big avenue on it, the river died completely. Today, there are no fish and no water, just a big avenue surrounded by big factories and buildings.
Oh, this has been a good conversation. However, there are too many things that we don't know about the history of our city. At least, we have elderly people who remind us that lost and forgotten history of Medellin.